Hello, welcome to class. Today we're going to be looking at the concept of arithmetic progression. That's AP. Now, let's get into the class. When we talk about arithmetic progression, we are referring to another form of sequence known as linear sequence. So arithmetic progression, also called linear sequence, is a form of sequence in which each term is gotten by the addition of a common difference to the preceding one. Alternatively, we can also say that arithmetic progressions, or AP, are sequences that follows a simple addition rule. Now, let's examine the pattern of the following arithmetic progression. Example, so if we look at this sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we can see that the difference between the consecutive terms of this sequence is 1. Now, what do I mean? Look at this. The difference. Now, let's say the difference is D between the consecutive terms. So the difference here can be, let's say, the second term minus the first term. Of course, you can see this is the first term, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth, and this is the fifth. So the second term minus the first term, this will give us what? 2 minus 1, and that gives us 1. We can also check the difference here. Of course, the difference again here can be the third term minus the second term. So if you have the third term minus the second term, we're going to have the third term here is 3 minus the second term is what? Is 2, and that gives us 1. We can also examine the difference here again. The difference here can also be the fourth term minus the third term, and this will give us what? The fourth term here is what? Is 4 minus the third term is what? 3, and that gives us 1. Let's still examine the difference here again. The difference here can also be the fifth term minus the fourth term, and this will give us what? The fifth term here is 5 minus 4, and that gives us 1. Now you can see that the difference among this sequence, the difference between each consecutive members or each consecutive terms of the sequence is common. All of them is 1. So we say that every sequence that has a common difference is called an arithmetic progression. I want you to note that. As far as the difference among these terms is common, then this sequence is called what? An AP, which is arithmetic progression. Now, let's examine another sequence. Let's examine this sequence. So, the sequence 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on. Now, what's the difference between the consecutive terms of the sequence? So, the difference, now, let me call the difference here D. So, the difference here is second term minus the first term. That's 5 minus 3, and that gives us what? 2. Let's look at the next difference. The difference between the third term and the second term, that's what? 7 minus 5, and that gives us what? 2. Let's examine the next difference again. The fourth term minus the third term, that gives us what? 9 minus 7, and that is what? 2. You can see that the difference among each member of the sequence is common. So 2 is common among them. Therefore, this sequence is called an arithmetic progression, because we said that every sequence that has a common difference between each of the consecutive terms is called what? An arithmetic progression. Okay, let's examine the next sequence again. Let's examine this sequence. Look at this sequence. 5, 9, 13, and 17. Now, what's the difference between the consecutive members? Let's call the difference here D. So the difference here, 9, that's second term minus first term. 9 minus 5, and that gives us what? 4. We check again the difference. Third term minus second term. That's 13 minus 9, and that gives us what? 4. Let's look at again the fourth term minus the third term. So the difference here is what? The fourth term is 17 minus 13, and that's what? 4. You can see that the difference is common among them. So therefore, this sequence is an arithmetic progression, because arithmetic progressions are sequences that have what? A common difference. It's of utmost importance to note that any sequence with a common difference is called an arithmetic progression. Also, any sequence without a common difference is not an arithmetic progression. I want you to note this. Any sequence that does not have a common difference among the consecutive terms or members of that sequence is not an arithmetic progression. For example, let's examine this sequence to see if it is an arithmetic progression or not. Now let's consider this sequence: 5, 10, 20, and 40. Is this sequence an arithmetic progression? Let's check it out. Now, what's the difference? Remember, the difference is second term minus first term. So this second term is 10 minus the first term 5, and that gives us what? 5. Okay, let's examine the next difference again. Third term minus second term. That's 20 minus 10, and that gives us what? 10. You can see the difference are not common, are not the same. Let's check again the next difference. Fourth term minus third term. That's 40 minus 20, because the fourth term is 40 and the third term is what? Is 20. Remember, this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, and this what? The fourth term. So 40 minus 20, and this gives us 20. You can see clearly that the difference between each of the consecutive terms of the sequence is not common. Because the difference is not common, so this sequence is not an arithmetic progression. I hope you understand that. Okay, now let's look at some problems together. Now I want you to look up, let's solve some example to illustrate this, because I want you to understand the concept of common difference. Okay, the first problem here is we are asked to find the common difference in each of the following sequence AP. Of course, it has been specified that the sequence is an arithmetic progression. Okay, let's find the common difference in each of the following sequence. Number 1, the sequence here is 2, 6, 10, 14, and 18. So we have to find the common difference. So what's the common difference? Common difference, I want you to remember, note, common difference is given by the formula second term minus first term. Or you can say third term minus second term. Or you can say fourth term minus what? Third term. So that's the formula for finding the common difference of an arithmetic progression. Remember, this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, this is the third term, right? This is the fourth term, and this is the fifth term. So we are asked to find the common difference here. So what's the common difference? Let me use D as the common difference. The common difference is simply 6. That's second term minus first term. 6 minus 2, that gives me what? 4. Or I can still use third term minus second term. That's third term is 10 minus 6. And that gives me what? 4, and so on. So the common difference of this sequence is what? Is 4. Number 2. The question is, find the common difference of this sequence. 2, 1 over 2, 2, 1, and then, okay, 2, 1 over 2, then 2, 1, 1 over 2, and what? And 1. So we are asked to find the common difference here. Remember the formula that the common difference is second term minus first term, or third term minus second term, or fourth term minus third term. So let's solve it out. The common difference here, D, is equals to, the second term here is what? 2, minus the first term here is what? 2.5. So 2 minus 2.5, that should give us what? Minus 1 over 2. So that gives us the common difference of this sequence. Of course, if you want to also use third term minus second term, you still get the same thing. Look at it. 1 over 2, that's the third term, minus the second term, minus 2. That will give us what? Minus half. You can see that the common difference of this sequence is minus 1 over 2. Now, the last question, number 3. The question is to find the common difference of the arithmetic progression 9, 18, 27, 36, and then 45. Okay, so what's the common difference? Remember the formula. The common difference is second term minus first term, or third term minus second term, or the fourth term minus the third term. So the common difference here is what? Second term minus first term, that's 18 minus 9, and this is what? 9. Or you can say third term minus second term, that's 27 minus 18, and that's what? 9. Or you can also say the fourth term minus third term, that's 36 minus 27, and that is 9. I hope you understood what we just explained. Okay, now let me give you something to play with. Now the question is, find the common difference in each of the following. Number 1, we've given you some sequence, like 5 problems here. You are asked to find the common difference in each of the following. Now the B question says, you should examine. The B question says, examine to know if the following sequence are arithmetic progressions or not. Now look at the questions here. So check to tell us if the following sequence are arithmetic progressions or not. I want you to pause this lecture and go through these problems, solve them, and then check your answers in the next slides. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next class. So in our next lecture, we're going to be looking at the nth term of an arithmetic progression. See you in our next class. Thank you.